Welcome guys, it's a hot Sunday. Hopefully we're gonna have a hot week as well. And that means a volatility kick in from the next week. It's last week of June, so prepare yourself. It's as well Q3 that start to close on it, so most of the times, technically as well speaking, it's the time to take profits. So if there are gonna be some pullbacks or some quite big dumps correlation with the last week, you know where it's heading from. Looking at volatility index, we did have a really nice spike last week, and we've been talking about that that's going to be a volatile one, and it was, together with the Fed meeting and all that bullshit around it. Still, it is overall uptrending still, right? We didn't lose the 15. Now the case is we did kind of retrace into it right now. Now it's making or breaking on the open tomorrow. It's around the 12-ish from the London Open, right? So if we start to open below 15 into the support one, we might attempt to break that. And that's going to be the first break since we came all the way from the 13, right? So that's going to be quite massive. If we're going to do that, then we start to break the whole scenario, right? So we could potentially see a quite pullback or a pump on the market as well, regardless that. So let's see. But if and only if we start to open up tomorrow above 17, and we're going to aim for the high of this whole high over here, technically we are in this whole scenario of the continuation, right? So yeah, that's still possible to break that, right? You're always going to have two scenarios no matter what. But then the most likely is we might get close into the lows even, or we're going to grind into these lows just because end of the week, like all of the numbers are coming around regardless the quarter close, and there we have it, like all the incomes, the PCI even, and the GDP growth. So yeah, every single thing it's coming end of the week. And that said, 26th, 25th, well, the monthly it's closing at 30, so we could have a quite long weekend with the spread of it with the volatility, and that will kick on next monthly open. Let's see. So far it might be a little bit more quiet week and a little bit more on the end of the week we could see that volatility spike, but let's see regardless how the month is gonna be, right? We could see potential as well the Sunday run up would be last 3 or 4 Sundays we had it, right? So yeah, we could have that as well, like that potential breakout and one candle, big ass green candle into the upside and regaining stuff and then holding for next couple days. Let's see, but so far we tend to pull back a little bit on that. Now moving on, and this is quite funny because like we've been talking about that breakout for like already weeks or not even months, right? I really was surprised that we did it that quick, and yeah, we did freaking regain almost a year of dollar price action. That's not something that you shouldn't be not be aware of it, but that's quite big. Like, not gonna lie, that regain, it's been trying for like 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, that's already on the 8th time we did pop the $100, but we're still in the big resistance. Like, don't get me wrong, this is still in the big pocket of it, but still it's a big change, right? That's really something that we should be aware of. So this is it, we are at the 100. Like right now, the only thing what I would suggest to do it's a pullback, same thing what we had it over here on the pop of the 99 into the 100, right? We had a pullback on the support, and now we still technically could do one pullback into those two lows for any continuation, right? This doesn't seem like it wants to go back even into the 98. Right? We've been quite heavily supporting that area. We flipped that and we're holding right now into the 100. So yeah, potential. This is still aiming to go higher. Now, what does that mean? Overall weekly time frame, we are in change of character and breaking out of it. Right? I'm not gonna lie, it doesn't seem that we will go lower on that perspective. Last time we did that kind of pop was similar to this area in 2014, right? Or even 2021, right? There are some similarities to it, but still, like going above, and I've been mentioning that already for the moment that we've been around the May 2025, regaining this high over here, but technically right now we are just retesting it, but still it's creating a retest for next round to go much more easier and quite quicker into those $103. Right? It's something that we see already quite changing, and we've been seeing that for quite a while, but apparently we didn't notice it. Now, funny thing is, like on the oscillation, you don't not gonna see it much, but like when you see this kind of structure, round bottoming, and you see this whole spike in the money flow, like in one line sideways, but still uptrending, that's a quite a big regain from the lows that you settled last year, from the whole momentum rotation to go back into the positive and holding that. That's quite big and something significant as well for a big change. So yeah, that pop, it's still getting closer than we even think. All right, like anything above this high of 101, that's done. It's a bear market stuff, because all of the rotations goes back into the dollar. All right, so want to get that out of the picture. Market wise, yeah, we had that one big run up, right? And come back, and boy, oh boy, another one, perfect, picture perfect to the T, 671, and right, really nice bounce and test of it. But we do switch into the strength and trending of it, right? So right now, the only thing what we need to get is above 692. That high will bring you a little bit more higher, and every single thing is tested above that. But so far, it looks like the weakness start to get into the whole momentum, right? Same thing what we had it over here, that flip of the trend, right? And that's technically broach a little bit more lower. So yeah, we are still like after the setting the high, right? Breaking the low, we still are a little bit more weaker into the side. Not much positivity comes in, right? If the next week we're gonna pop into the positive, like above 25, we could potentially see that regain of the high and that continuation. But that said, we are aiming for the massive Q3 open. That said, quite a lot of profit will be taken, not only on the company wise, but as well on the fundamentals of things. So yeah, remember that. Not much to say about that. Now, gold wise, like we had a really nice run up, but apparently we couldn't manage even to close above 4.3, right? So still, are we in a continuation to the downside? Yes, we are. When that's gonna change? Till we're gonna flip the 4.3, right? That's the whole line in the sand. You need to flip that high. If you're not gonna get above that, then it's not even talking about it to go back at the highs that we came from, right? Are we in a broken structure? Yes, we are, right? Where it's gonna be holding on it to confirm that we might bottom out. The only thing right now is this. Literally 4K. Losing 4K, we're gonna go lower, right? So that's on the daily path or hour wise. Now, what are we doing? Exact the same price action that we used to do it over here, right? Can we have another pop? Yes, we can. Right now, 4 hour, what do you need to regain? 4.3. Another. This is still the resistance, right? Area that we came from. Now, flip that and you will get back at the highest stuff at 4.5. Right? That's the massive one. That failure over here, what took us for quite a long week or two, right, brought you all the way down and you broke the structure from it. That's still significant. This is already on 4 hour. Like technically you broke the low from here and you broke the low from here. So you are in the broken structure till you're not gonna regain the 4.3. Right, getting back at 4K, yeah, that's your support still. Silver, have a look at silver. Silver is in a little bit more better situation. So technically, even on a daily, you are a little bit more in better scenario of a high that you settle, but you need to hold on this low. If we're gonna start to break below 63, then it's done, right? Everything what we did from the moment that we get from 63-ish low from February till that sideways and that big push into the high with kind of structure regain and holding it on the low time frame, it's gonna be done, and we're gonna break that for the first time, right? Because still, yes, body wise we are in the broke structure, but we didn't settle a new lower low. We still above 61. Okay, that's something that we still need to remember. And I think I forgot to, yeah, I forgot to stream. Okay, anyway, I'm gonna upload it manually. By the way, anyhow, so yeah, silver is still a little bit more in a better conditions, right? So on 4 hour, technically what you want is this, and it looks like it wants to go a little bit more higher. We've been a little bit more in a sell-off position, right? That's toggled from positive to negative quite quickly, but we are still in that negative phase, right? And we starting to turn around. So I will not be surprised if silver is gonna go back around 70 before or even tomorrow after market open. Yeah, that's a really nice one. And to be honest with you, like if I might use it, then there you have it, right? That's a really good stupid flip, and it plays. It is. It's a real one. So, like I said, silver is a little bit more better in the conditions of commodities than the rest of it. Now, oil can have a little bit more push into the high, or at least into the 89-ish area to retest that whole swing failure, because you are in a big, massive failure of structure, right? The whole range that you settled over here, that's doesn't matter anymore. That's done, right? All of that holdings here, that's been denied by that low that we said already. Yes, we are at the support, not a big one, but still a support, right? So we could potentially see a bounce, come back at least at 70 or 89 or 90-ish, for it to range a little bit longer, same thing what we did over here, or coming back at the highs even, or maybe go lower, right? That's still potential. I don't see us going lower into the 60. That's going to be quite massive for oil. I don't see that, even with the positivity that oil start to float, but still that doesn't change anything yet on the market, because it's not in our hands yet, right? It's still at the sea. So quite a lot can happen on that momentum. So far, yes, it's a good support, right? So coming back at 90, that's going to be the aim. Changing something will bring you above 96, right? 96 area, that's the high that you need to regain for it to get back at the highs or the biggest resistance even on the whole oil scenario. So far, yeah, it's going to be a relief bounce, definitely. So definitely keep an eye on 87, 89-ish area. Nasdaq, a little more sideways after the settling a new all-time high on it. So yeah, let's see. That's for sure aiming to go a little bit more higher. Or if we're gonna see a price action like something above and around the all-time high, like I said, I'm kind of in the ballpark that we will do something like this, right? This kind of scenario after settling a new low, grinding it out into the high, and then starting to break it. Yeah, I don't think they're gonna do a massive break or something out of the blue. It's gonna hold for ages, just because it's that big, and not everyone wants to get it out of it. Like setting a new all-time high and getting like into the blue sky breakout, then yeah, you're gonna grind it out and whatsoever, you're gonna go higher. But so far, yeah, we just from the lows, you regain it already back. So strength is there, but overall market, it's still not there, right? On this Nasdaq market, we are still like, if we can consider this a graded market, a high, low, we are at the middle point of this whole range, right? Still massive break of the structure, right? Like if you consider this a structure, then yes, this is a major break of structure. Now regaining 2.5, this high will bring you into the highs of 2.6, and then maybe you're gonna see one more before we're gonna regain that. But that's gonna be breakout massively, because we didn't do that from October 2025. The whole dump that we had it, now regain, technically, and speaking of, this is your biggest pocket that you came back to it, to the T. Now you're still playing that out, but losing the low of 2.4, you're gonna bring you lower, and could be even massively as well, because there is like almost none of the structure and price action below us. So yeah, just touching by before I forget about it, we seriously been quite close to break the freaking low on the Netflix. So we are seriously close on it. Like I'm seriously gonna look how tomorrow's gonna be open and pre-market's gonna be closing, because that could be another massive break of the low. on it, and a continuation still. So still at the support. Like I said, if you want to have like really tight trade with the stop loss, then this is your area right now. Anything above 79, it's gone, and it's gonna go aim for any highs and maybe do some stupid things like we used to do back in here. So let's see. Just touching slowly by. Let's have a look if we're gonna have any gaps actually on the CME coming up. So far, low time frame we don't have. It's gonna be quite interesting if we're gonna have that on the weekly or on the daily. Just because that one was really what's the name, delayed on the chart, because when I checked it on Monday it wasn't, and it was on back on Tuesday. So yeah, that was really bit delayed, and right now we dealt with it, so not much of a gap anymore left. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting for sure how we're gonna close this weekly. Let me put it back and then move on the capital, because that one is quite interesting as well. There are some couple things to cover. Like you already can see from the highs that we settled down on the May 25th, we had a really nice pullback on most of the markets, and some of them had a really nice run up, right? So we've been talking about the VIX and the Dixie, right, that still are rising on the weekly, right? This is quite a time frame that it takes ages, but when it flips for real and it goes, right? You are then already too late for it. But still, market-wise, Bitcoin, ETH, and the overall market is still aiming to go lower, right? Minus 46 on the weekly, that's nothing yet, right? We used to be even deeper in like minus 80 or even deeper. That's nothing. We still have quite a lot to go through, right? VIX is still aiming. We've been above the neutral line, retraced a little bit and below, but still rising in overall scenario, right? HYPE did have a pullback, a small grind, but it's still a pullback. And overall, SPX and Nasdaq are quite high, but that could as well grind for a while. Okay, moving on the daily scenario, you see a quite flip, right? Already on the daily, on the Dixie, you are quite heavy into the 66 area and already stagnated over there. So let's see if I'm gonna see a quite a nice big pullback into the neutral line. Then you're gonna see if we're gonna be like below or above that area. So far, this is still strength for continuation, right? As we know, above that, till we're not gonna flip something significant. VIX as well, we didn't lose the low yet. We still have a pullback, but let's see if we're gonna open up and have it a little bit more above the neutral line. Then you're gonna have definition on the whole continuation of the market. That means you will see some significant pullbacks happening, right? So yeah, it's quite interesting scenario right now between the daily and the weekly, in my opinion. And then end of the month, like then we're gonna have a look at the whole monthly levels on the capital, right, and how much we're gonna change from it, because that's gonna be quite nice to see if we're gonna get back at the 60 neutral line or even below with some of the ecosystems. So that's gonna be quite nice to see how much impact have that Q3 open. So yeah. That's nice. Moving on the daily scenario of Bitcoin. Now, interesting stuff. We've been talking about it. We got into that liquidity pocket over here, and we had a really nice retrace already from it. We still potentially can do one more. Right? This definitely is not over yet. Right? Doing something like running up into that, we're gonna squeeze it more of the shorts and then potentially break stuff. That's still a good scenario in the whole overall daily, right? So that's still potentially the case, and that's gonna be every single time we're gonna come back at that band averaging of 50 and 100 x's will be the scenario of a reaction from it to go lower. Still, we're not gonna flip it. Now, we've been talking about the whole capital flow of the market. That line. Of the markets overall, we had this big squeeze, but we had it into the run-up of the highs, right, of the Bitcoin. We had that squeeze, and right now, look at that. We are still going lower on alts. We didn't come back at the 60 line. Stablecoin starting to pick up already on it. and retrace from the large caps and shitcoins, because they most of the times they go hand in hand together. So yeah, from the whole momentum that we've been in the squeeze of the momentum into the neutral, we just separated again. Something to think about and consider as well from the next week, right? Getting the large caps capital flow lower below minus 58. Still, we're gonna aim to get lower or maybe around that area from the low, breaking the low or even lower. Okay, be aware of that. We squeezed quite heavily into the liquidity band. Now, if you look at it in perspective, like what's changed from that couple days we've been looking, bands start to get lower and lower. The line that I settled over here, right, because that band was quite into that line or a little bit more above 43. Now we start to get even 41k. So every single time we squeezing into that band and make the band going lower means every single liquidity start to shift as well. Those positions start to add, they start to manipulate it with their own position and think they can hold it. So the squeeze of all of the liquidity start to get thicker and thicker. So yeah, maybe even we're gonna get sub 40. Who knows? So far, still sideways, still holding on the daily. That's not gonna change at all from today, but we are starting to get overdue for a pullback right now, and heavier as well. That means oscillation, that means even money flow, and as well cash flow didn't change a bit, and we are not even close for the neutral line and flip into the positive, right? So there are a lot of scenarios still to cover. And going back at the delta, we are at the whole volume profile, we are below that. That means every single thing that we did, right? Every single thing what we did from the top to the bottom right now, we are above all of that volume. That's the pressure that's building up to push us lower. Right? Because every single time we're going to get back at a high of 67, 68, 66, there's more adding up on the shorts on top of it. The squeeze is there, and we can significantly see that already, right? That whole pressure to the downside been already working quite heavily in favor of shorts, right? So yeah, this is still like grinding into it, and by all means, like if you long any supports, that's fine, but most of them, they are short-lived, right? I don't expect we're gonna go back right now or even next week to somewhere like 78 or 80. I'll be surprised about it. I don't expect it. Not yet. And there is a little bit more to talk about it, about the squeeze. So covering the squeeze on 1 hour position, we still, like if we need to get back at least 66 or 67k, we need to flip 64.8. That's the level we need to flip to change this whole scenario. Because right now, the only thing what we are doing, we are at the resistance, right? And yes, it's another Sunday. We could have that one big ass candle what we used to have over here, and over here, right? To change that, that's all fine. But then still, this is your major resistance, right? And as well, all of the liquidity over here, that's high time frame. After that, it starts to thin out with that one more block above us still, right? With the big dead zone as well. So yeah, if we manage to get above 64.8, we're gonna take all of this liquidity, and that's gonna be a driven move. Even we're gonna do something like this, right? Going back at a high, coming back, and then start to fail. That's still possible, right? To do that whole scenario. Yeah, definitely. But what we can do as well, even if we are at the resistance right now, we did break out from the lows, so we are technically holding. Could come back at the lows, grabbing all of this, even breaking that stuff, and then start to do bigger moves into the upside. Because this is still support, right? Don't get me wrong. Even if we are resistance and we are in a downtrending, this is already support. Just because we broke out from 63, and technically you broke out from 64.5. It's resistance, but you are a little bit more in a better position on the structure. Right, so yeah, volume are starting to calm down. Even the money flow on 1 hour start to get already in the negative. You are in the squeeze. So yeah, this potentially could be a really nice short that plays out. We tried it with the hidden divergence on it, but still sideways, and pressure is still a little bit lower. And even the strength give up already, and it's starting to calm down. So potentially, yeah, nice short into the lows, if that's what you want. But let's go on 4 hour. Same thing, right? Still at that 64.5 area. That's your resistance. You need to flip that. So coming back above the daily will do the trick. But then another hand side, what do we have above us? Weekly again. That's the same level that you've been failing twice already from it. Even 66, you've been failing quite perfectly. Yes, this has been tested, but still, it's a quite heavily liquidity resistance area. So coming below, still fine. At least I will not be surprised to come back at 62.6. And especially on that note, we could dive a little bit more deeper or wick into the lows below 62. Why? Because we finally managed to build a wall below us. Now, note, it can be our support wall from coming back into this, wick into this, and then go and continue higher into the 67 area. Yes, possible. Or just because the volume is starting to pick down and starting to get lower constantly from the lows that we created. This is not something that is full with a lot of volume. It's just pressure. We could manage to break this and grab this as money liquidity to go lower, at least 59 next target. If that's going to be the case, if this is going to be the magnet, we're going to continue in grabbing that. And they're starting to add more on top of it, as in move all of God, move start. How is that not working? Anyway, I wanted to draw on it, but apparently they don't allow me. So if they start to stack on top of it and make it like bigger as a wall and more pressure to it, that's gonna be a bounce potentially. But then when they start to pull it, move it, or fuck around it, going lower, 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 it's a magnet to push us lower. Right? It's just two ways how they always deal with that. Same thing, what they've been doing over here. Right? We had that wall, most of it been pulled, and then the last couple things they grab sideways, they grabbed again sideways till they like thin out and like you didn't see anything from it back. Okay, so they are quite similar to how they do that, all that stuff. And it's been pulled quite heavily as well. That was quite funny to watch. Like this was picture perfect of fucking like big stuff manipulation to hold the price to fill the bags as heavy as it gets, and then they just let it go, right? So break it, fail it, and then zoom in. So this is the high, you break the low, you come back, you retest the previous high, and you just continues going lower, right? If that's the case. But that was really heavy. Like it's been rarely that you see this kind of stuff pulling in. Well, next target definitely 62-ish or below that, even to grab all of that stuff, if that's going to be the case. If not, you need to get back at 64.3 to at least significant grab the 64.8 stuff. That's the resistance that you're still failing from. So yeah, this is it, right? All of the nodes of orders are stacking over here. So both ways, no matter what, right? Even this is the support and this is the support. You are coming into the support with it, right? Grabbing that will define what we're gonna do. Are we gonna break the low, 1 or 2, or we're gonna settle down, right? Settle down, go sideways, get back at a high, maybe break out from it, and then go lower whatsoever. Right, still potential back at 62 62 yeah, right, 62, that's your support. Flip of 64.8 will bring you quite heavily into the weekly, because there's a big fair value gap, not much of price action going on, so you're gonna slide quite heavily in the weekly. Potentially much more likely you're gonna go through that quite easily, just because it's been tested already. And we're gonna go back finally at 66.5, right? That's still the resistance. So already, if you want to know where you're gonna go, this is one pocket, and this is second pocket, and this is your even third pocket, right? This is the game. And by that, you need to do or this or this. Those are the two ways. There is nothing else, right? As easy as it gets. Visualize it. Weekly. Yeah, weekly. We did kind of reverse it all the way down from 67, so that's a no-brainer. Like I said, like that one weekly over here, the positive, like doesn't say anything what we're gonna how we're gonna continue. That's nothing. That's just a stop. And technically, this could be something as like one reversal sign, so that M pattern, right? If we're gonna continue going lower, that's the thing. And overall, if you really need to reverse this and close the weekly positive in the next 7 hours, you need to get back at least above 65.9. That's your target since the moment that you are right now. So that's the reverse pattern. Monthly, still a week to go, so that can change. We're gonna talk end of the next week, maybe Wednesday I'm gonna touch a little bit, and then Sunday definitely, because then 2 days later you're gonna have the monthly close, so it could be significant a point of view where we're gonna head to it, right? Overall, still fine, but note as well, we had the uptrend, we had a pullback, we technically broke the flip of the whole pullback and the whole up momentum what we had it. Right now, we could potentially do the weekly retest or just phase lower into the support of 61. And that's going to be quite nice, taking out all of the liquidity or of the orders, or maybe one more, and then do the failure, right? Overall, we are a little bit more stagnated, and that's going to be quite the case as well. We talk about that, right? We have a big momentum movement into the lows, right? That's been, yeah, 30% momentum downside. So yeah, after that move, we're gonna always have like some momentum of sideways and potential some range creation from it. So that was a really nice edge over here, technically from 66 so far. Really nice. Still some potential to hold, right? There is like, don't get me wrong, like overall high time frame stuff, it's wrecked and shit. Like we all know that. But like the 4 hour, 1 hour, a little bit of daily, it's still fine to have some longs into it, right? Still we're not gonna break or get below 61. That's the whole line in the sand. Starting to get below this area, it's down, right? So that's a little bit all on Bitty Bitty. And let me check one more thing. Yeah, I always forgot about that. Not sure if you guys can remember that, but so far, loosely drew, but quite perfect still. Yeah, and this is it, right? We are pulling back from the highs, right? Long starting to calm down a little bit on it, so that's already giving the sign of the weakness, but then shorts are kicking in, maybe. So that's why we could potentially end up to wreck all of the late night short as well above 67-ish. But still, we are far away to even considering flipping the whole scenario, right? It's still far away. And this is always on the daily, right? So this is over a couple of days. That will be kind of significant what we're going to do. We are squeezing, right? We all know and see that. We all see that we are technically squeezing in all of that stuff, right? Going back at 1 hour and really said that we don't have the 4 hour on it, right? We have a little bit more release of it. But still, like continuing doing that, like if the longs start to pick in, then yeah, we will rise a little bit more on it. But still, not as high as we used to be from the moment that we get from 7-ish area. I always forget about this, and this is well the reason, because I'm not really looking at it daily. use something on the stream if I remember, but it's not something that I trade from. And yes, this starts to pick up your direction as well because the flips are matters, but then after that, the only thing that most 99% of this whole scenario matters are those moments, those flips only, right? And this. Everything in between that, it's continuation anyway, right? This is the only thing that should matter. So far, we are far away from it. So till that's not going to be changing, you are still in that whole scenario of continuation. So that sideways potential, it's still the scenario and aim before we're gonna do this whole break or whatsoever. How that's gonna look like, right? Back. Nice. Take a sip of my coffee with tonic, which you also much liked. At honey glaze, yeah, honey glaze and overbaked, a little bit cream, rosemary, and thyme to it. Lovely, lovely, bubbly. Garlic glaze, yeah, lovely as well. Hoisin sauce. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that. That's a really good sauce, or like a base sauce to it. I love that one, Asian style. Yeah, guys. Any questions about Biddy before I'm gonna move on? Some alt shenanigans to look out for. Oh, nothing up there. Nice. Right. Hi. I was a little bit more happy last week, and from the lows that we settled, we did settle a new all-time high, so happy days. Still in the continuation. Well, apparently the weakness start to pile in as well on hype, and the whole momentum flow that we used to have it from the lows into the all-time high pullbacks, and after that one, we start to see a little bit more profit taken on it. So a pullback definitely is a matter on it. Right, we could potentially see even the weekly all coming back at 58-ish for a continuation, or who knows, maybe we're gonna stay here for quite some time for us a range before we're gonna pop it again. And we wouldn't be that crazy for hype, but still good. Right, technically we are in little bit more resistance scenario just because we didn't go back and close it above 74. So yeah, weakness start to pile in. Yes, that was a little bit more outlier that we popped a high on it, I guess, and let's see how we're gonna be dealing with the rest of it. But it's still okay. Nothing, not much happening on it. But the funny part is, we do see the first time oscillation happening on hype, just because the price action is not that developed, so that's why we couldn't see any oscillation happening there. And this is something really funny, even with the without the oscillation of it, we had the reversal sign literally on the lows when I bought my spot back on it, and how much did play it out, right? Like to the T. Now I'm not sure if that's scary or not for some people, but we do see some reversal sign happening already on the opposite side. So is this gonna be the top and I'm gonna pull back on hype into the lows of maybe a yearly or Q2? Let's see. I wouldn't be surprised about it, because even then, after all this momentum from hype, it's still potentially good for a pullback, right? It's nothing bad. Like, guys, we need to really remember that any kind of pullbacks or even deep dive of the tokens into the lows, it's nothing bad. Still, we're gonna keep up with the whole potential of this momentum, right? If you're not gonna break this low, yeah, then you might gonna be stuck a little bit longer into the lows. But still, that's nothing bad. Right? Remember, the pullbacks can happen. And how deeper they go, how cheaper it is to buy it again. Easy as that. But yeah, first regular divergence happening since quite a freaking age, actually. So yeah, last time we had it was as well on this top. We had a pullback and then still continuation, but that was a little bit more different price action back in the days. But overall, we do see some profit taking scenarios, some weakness coming in, and a little bit more pulling back. Still fine. Let's see if we're gonna hold anything above 57 and 54-ish area, or even the weekly. Still fine because that's been untested. So yeah, that's still potentially quite a nice bounce for technically 70-ish. I would aim a little bit more above it, 72. Yeah. So yeah, Gucci. AVEX had a little bit more run done, and we did touch then $5. So still happy days for me. I like that. I would even prefer it to go a little bit lower. Now note, like I said, I don't consider this as a price action, as something significant. So that's why I'm keeping everything above that. Let's see how deep we're gonna go on AVEX. Still potentially can go lower, as it technically looks like. Right, we are still in continuation. So unfortunately, every single thing what we did right over here in this big range, it failed quite heavily to do it on this small range, because from the lows that we settled, we had a nice support, we ran into the highs, we regained that, we had a really nice scenario for potential coming back even to Q2 or even $8 if that will be scenario, and then we just took it. So me fine, I'll buy more of it on the new single avenue lows. That's fine, but then see how deep we're gonna go. Like if we're gonna break now the lows, next target is gonna be around 5.3. And as well note, quite funny, because we had one as well over here. It was came quite perfect to the line, and right now 5.7. Utility. Nice, nice structure again matters. Moving on injective. We are about to break the lows on it, so that's still fine. Like potential as well, good for a pullback. We did see a big scenario of profit taken from the high already. That was already a big flip, right? We are big in back in negative, so yeah, potentially going lower, even aiming for that 4.2, 4.4, and even yearly levels, right? This is still the whole scenario of the flip what we did. So yeah, it potentially still has support. We could grind it out as well, right? Do something like this, grind it out, and then do another low if that's gonna be the case. But then still going lower into the 3.7 or even March area that I've been calling as well for a while. Still potential. Weakness is in, right? Like you can clearly see that we from that whole potential of cash flow positive, we switched that quite heavily already into negative. The strength is down, oscillation is down, money flow is down, so potentially still aiming to go a little bit more lower, and that's fine, right? After this whole run up, like happy days. Like yeah, I would not see it differently. Weekly, that aims for potential quite big pullbacks. That's why as well this green line, that's for the weekly 3.7. Let's see if we're gonna go back here and settle down as a support. I would not like injective to break the lows, because that start to get a little bit thin for it. But hey, we are in a technically the same scenario on the weekly oscillation wise as we used to be over here, but then a little bit more less of the price action. So who knows? Still quite positive about it, but start to get a little bit thin below that. But I'm fine with it. I take the risk. Render still holding 1.6-ish area, so that's a nice one. I'm not sure if we talk about that flip, but that's gonna be a nice support to hold. If not, February is the last chance. If you start to break right now, getting back at February and lose you low, yeah, then definitely you're gonna fill up some orders from below March. Still positive, but I'm still sitting a little bit on the side on render, not buying it that much yet. I'm still holding the rest of it, just because it still can go potentially a little bit lower on a high time frame. And this is something that bothers me, because render looks freaking amazing good for the mid time frame scenario, but then potentially on the high time frame it starts to look more and more a little bit more shady. Let me see if I can switch everything off. Show you. Not only going by oscillation, right? That's one thing. And yes, potentially the strength in money flow is still there. Just because we are on a neutral line, it doesn't mean it's a negative, right? Still okay, but it's not massive. Oscillation is one thing. Cash flow, it's another thing. We still didn't flip positive on it, right? If that's going to be the case to go lower, we're going to continue in that scenario. But then structure-wise, it's something that kind of caught my eyes as well while I've been looking at it for a while. So the only thing is, we didn't technically regain anything on it on a high time frame. So it's still, like I said, mid time frame looks fucking amazing. Love it. But then on the high time frame, like this didn't been regained, first thing first. Then eventually you fail from underside retest. And right now, what we are doing technically already been done, right? Not the massive one, but the first two, you start to fail on it, right? So then coming back at least at 1.3, yeah, still potential area to hold. But losing that, like no brainer, we could have quite a nice wipe of render into the lows of 0.4. Cheap, but then not much after that, right? So then I'm technically asking myself, like, are we in this scenario? Like, is this the place that we are right now with render? Technically, that could be, right? We're not gonna do that big, massive dump. It's gonna be only, oh, never mind, minus 70%. But still, it's not gonna be that massive as we used to have it over here, I guess. But then that whole pullback, it's still in place, right? If we start to lose your prior low, what we settled from the yearly, and we will eventually flipping the whole scenario of looking really good because the render is one of the few that sticks above the yearly February on all those big levels, right? We are above that, and we're gonna start to get below that. Yeah, we might end up to come back at that weekly low or that week low, build up, and then start to grind it out again in the bear market stuff. It's all possible, right? In the scenario of high time frame. Like I said, mid time frame looks freaking amazing, and I like it. Like, but then when I start to look at the high time frame, but technically is the case because we are getting close to weekly and monthly close, that's going to be quite dependent how deep we're going to go. Because right now it's still fine till we're going to be above the 0.5, sorry, 1.5, 1.59, yeah, so $1.59. That's still fine till we're going to hold that. But aiming below that start to get a little bit more iffy. Now monthly, it's a little bit more better, but then if you start to zoom in on that one, like to losing monthly, it takes a small hit below $1.67. Right? It starts to get really close to break the whole high time frame structure on render. And that's a little bit what keeps me a little bit more like, okay, I should calm down with buying it. Still, we're not gonna settle down at least 1.3 and see if we're gonna hold on that. All right, like I said, it looks all good and great on mid time frame. Like I seriously like this, and there's nothing wrong with it. But then when I'm gonna look at weekly, it says like, I will wait a little bit with it, just because of those two underside retest and failures. But yeah, it's still fine. Like it's no biggie. It's not that you bought the top and you're gonna aim for the bottom right now. Like even there've been worst case scenarios. Solana had a really nice flip of scenario. So yeah, Solana had to pick up on life a little bit and show us a little bit more strength, and at least till what's that? $81. Right, so far it's really been good because you settled down on the daily. You had a really nice support flip of the whole RSI scenario, and now where do you go? 81, and who knows, we might even break at 82. Sorry, 87, 87.2. the high. That would be massive for Solana. To change that before the bear market, yeah, that would be really good. And finally, it will maybe show some strength. And who knows as well, and this is something that I like to see, we might do this again, this whole range, right? On Solana, like coming back and then grind, do another one, come back and then start to fail. Yeah, possible. But hey, it looks good. Not often that I'm saying that, but start to looks good. 4 hours about to break out even, so yeah. Nice if you caught that. And it's good. Oh, Gucci. Something else. I'm not gonna cover Eve because that's for sure like wrecked as fuck as well. Yeah, that read is ordering. With that, what else? What else do we have here? Here. Ooh. I think I talk about that one, right? On Fed. Not going to ask, but okay then. If you was about to ask, then let me do the weekly then for you. Yeah. What do you want to know? How deep we're gonna go, or no? Jokes aside, like yeah, overall time frame, like high time frame for Bitcoin and ETH is the same, exact same. It's wrecked, right? We all know that it's not something that we are hiding from it. The lows that we settled from 1.5, so this support that's been all tested, right? And so far, like okay, weekly on ETH looks a little bit more positive because it is a little bit more in positive scenario of candle wise than Bitcoin, but still it's nothing close to massively changing structure. That's weekly because like there is not much yet after that whole dump. It's 2 weeks of sideways. That's all. Now scenario for ETH, it's a little bit more better-ish if you talk about structure, but then you need to consider to hold anything above 1.6. Closing anything up and below this structure-wise, like right now, like something like this, it's gonna be like one of those scenarios for a continuation lower, right? That's on the daily-ish area. There's not much from it, right? To recover all of this scenario, you need to go back at 2K, above that at least. This whole hip, you need to regain that. Not really seeing ETH doing that right now. Potentially, what could be the case for ETH, it's something as a V bottom scenario. Now, what does that mean? You need to do this right now in a continuation up, right? Like straight up, going like this, and then blast from it. Not even considering to coming back. That's the only scenario for ETH that you can save this whole freaking dump that we used to have it and push the alts into the whatsoever. That's the only scenario. So that means regaining this hip, coming back, and then you just holding on this, and then you blast it through. Like this whole momentum. Not much that I'm seeing on it right now. 4 hour still technically last support broke, and then failing at least like regaining this stuff already, right? Pushing you off. You need to blast through it right now, hold it, and then do it again. Recover all of this. So that means all the strength right now need to come back into the ETH. I was hoping for a weekly bull diff. Like, the thing is, you need to remember one thing with the bull diffs. It's one, that they are there, but for them to play out, it takes time as well for it, right? So if you're gonna have scenario as this, yes, that's a really big one that play it out, right? But scenarios, for example, like this, like you're not gonna be able even to catch it if this pops in, and that's what I meant, like that V bottom and then blast it off. Like, yeah, you're gonna have them, but then still, like most of the times it's not something that you should like aim for. It's just the confluence, like, okay, are we doing this? Yes or no? And not something like, oh, I'm waiting for it and I'm gonna step in on it. It's still like technically, yeah, we are in the divergence scenario, but that's still nothing significant yet. Even here, it played out, but it wasn't covered. Yeah, and weekly as well. Like, bro, if you aim for that, it's don't think like just because we are at this low, we're gonna recover this high. Like that's not something that we should think about it. And same thing, like remember as well, right? If breakout from this high, you set at this higher high, right? This is your low. You came back at that low, right? Breakout, higher high, right? Well, quite similar, right? But yeah, holding barely at this freaking support. Next couple weeks gonna be even, yeah, make it or break it, but then losing your 1.5, like where are you gonna bring it? 1.2 ish. You start to get in sub 1k scenario of ETH. Bro, that's 2018, 2019 lows. So yeah, like all the things that I've been doing already in crypto, and this is the last cycle. I think at least for ETH, that's gonna show some strength. The next cycle, that shit's gonna be like it. Technically, like if you think about it, for example, breaking all of this stuff, right? Get back at the lows, like no matter how deep you're gonna go back. At least what you're gonna do on ETH is last run up into the highs or on the side retest. I don't think it's gonna be even possible for ETH to break out of the all-time highs. And then what you're gonna be forever, at least so far, it's gonna exist. Gonna arrange it out. Not might be. Yeah, gonna be easy to spot buy at the low and then whatsoever. Wait till it's gonna be at the high and sell everything at once. Yeah, but then still, if same for Solana, not really having high hopes, or even like, yeah, for sure it's gonna survive the bear market whatsoever, but then the next cycle or two, at least that's gonna be the last ones. Looks so fucking awful. Yeah, I wonder if there's gonna be a case we're gonna break that sub 60 cents. That's a horrible looking chart. Another shitcoin. And here as well, think about it. Like this is something that I've been kind of like theorizing about. It's not, don't take me for granted, right? It's just something that I've been thinking about. Like imagine right now what's happening, because every single cycle, right, we have that whole thought about the Tether and USDT. It's gonna go away. It's gonna be banned or whatsoever. Yeah, bullshit. No matter what, but they do. Or like the government can be able to deny access to exchanges, right? That's possible for them to do. So what if this is not all that false as a statement to say we might change and get back in the direction of more to be use of the dexes than the exchanges. Like for example, right now, and you've been hearing that quite a lot, I guess, lately, that Binance struggled or they failed to submit the MiCA's regulation, right? So technically, they've been gonna be, and they are already kind of like a band in AU, right? So they will move with the whole exchange. They're still gonna be exist. They're still gonna be the biggest. But what if they're gonna move, for example, their whole focus on Asia market, right? With Binance Exchange, but they will, for example, sustain the Aster as their own DEX. So they're still gonna be in the game. Same thing, Hyperliquid, right? It's still one of the biggest and one of the greatest, I guess, what you can use it right now. So yeah, that's another one. So what if we're gonna do the switch from exchanges to DEXs? Much more easier because of all of the regulations and all of the fucking thought about the USDT whatsoever we're gonna have every single cycle that people believe in it. But still, that doesn't sound that crazy, right? Like I cannot remember the day that I've been using Binance, for example, because I can't over here, and I'm kind of used to it. Like I'm not really crying about it because I don't miss it. There are multiple different ones exchanges, and there gonna be a lot of exchanges coming and going, of course, every single cycle or whatsoever. But still, right? The biggest one, like yeah, oh yeah, they deny access to Binance on the AU, but they don't care because EU it's not the biggest market for them. Asia is the biggest, and the American, and still that part even doesn't allow fully access of Binance. So yeah, what if we're gonna do the whole switch of using exchanges and we're gonna be using DEXs only from now on? Like that doesn't sound that crazy, right? And how do you gonna regulate it up? You can't technically. You're gonna find something on the taxes and whatsoever, but yeah, to be honest with you, every single rule that's kind of like denied and you cannot cross it, believe me, there's always gonna be a way of doing things. Western socialist, yeah, Republic of Mika, yeah, I know. So yeah, like they can do whatever they want, and yeah, they fight Binance right now, but Binance doesn't give a shit about it. I'm sorry, but that's how it sounds, right? They don't because they've been already denied access for quite a lot of countries in Europe, right? So who cares? They're focusing on Asia. That's why they pull up the Aster DEX. That's gonna be their kind of like a way of you cannot use Binance, you can use Aster, right? So yeah, I think that's not crazy to think about it. And as well, the whole scenario of the dexes, the stocks that they start to accumulate, the forex as well that you can trade on it. They start to like branch out on every single thing what they can, because they know that they're gonna be much more stable eventually when the regulations for the exchanges start to hit. Right? So yeah, maybe that's as well far-fetched into the future, but still not something crazy, right? Like same thing for kind of like a technology, right? Some things go away that we used to do, but then instead of that, we get quite different things for it in place of. That was something that I was thinking about last couple of days as well, and talking with some people about it. So yeah, I would not be surprised that from now on, when, for example, Hyperliquid right now settled quite good standards for DEXs, right? So then, yeah, multiple people can say as well, like, hey, if we're gonna do the same, we could be as well quite famous about that, but as well strong and popular in that case, because apparently doing the good way, it's the way, right? Not doing the fucking shady way and whatsoever. Like we know and from where the Dex has been known from. Yeah, that's doesn't sound that crazy. So you guys think that I'm crazy? on board to a DEX? What do you mean on board? Sometimes I have really stupid ideas and thoughts, but I know when I say them out loud and I like get money on them. Yeah, I mean, of course, like there is like quite a lot of ways to do that, right? You can use your wallets, connect them with your cards and whatsoever from on ramping. Like, yeah, still, I know you need to have exchange to it to do the on ramping. But the thing is, like, yes, we are thinking right now, like in the negative of like, yeah, but how do I get the money on them? Like, believe me, till when that moment starts to get like, okay, we are focusing a little bit more on DEXs, they will come up with the ways of onboarding and as well with off ramping easier or different ways. Like there are multiple ways right now that even the companies, us with card owners, for example, us, let's say, the Ether, the Revolut, and there was one more that I've been using for on-ramping the money on the card from the different banks or from different kind of institutions that you hold. There are a million ways to do that, right? But then that's going to be maybe even easier, much more friendly for use, and different kind of how can I different kind of ways of doing that process, right? So yeah, that will come eventually. Maybe it's not that friendly right now, but there are still ways. Like, oh yeah, even Ego's a Revolut. Yeah, I've been using Revolut as well, and that's as well one of the big on ramping for me right now. So it's there are ways if you think about it and you try to find the ways around it. Then yes, but then even Tangem card, right? Like the wallet, that one as well. You can on ramp on that one because you can buy from it and sell from it. Right? There is plenty ways to do that. Yeah, exactly. P2P marketplaces. Yeah, that's gonna be big as well. Definitely, because that's gonna be the thing. Like people gonna look for on ramping and like finding the ways. And if you can use somebody else for it, there you have it. Right? Like it's a way of like kind of ish we starting to prepare for that kind of switch and stuff. So don't get me wrong, like Binance, hitting Binance, like it doesn't do anything to me because I'm already not really using it at all. And it's been ages that I used to use it. But that's not something, yeah, it's biggest exchanges and people are scared because, oh, it's big exchange. Yeah, still, they can fucking survive because they're gonna, and they are focusing much more on the Asia market right now instead of AU. They don't give a shit about AU at all. Like for them, that's like, that's what I'm thinking. Like they are laughing at this regulation because, like, yeah, okay, who cares? Yeah, that sounds like yeah, uh, yeah, exactly. Like Tangem, it's gonna be really big if they're gonna come out with the big on ramping from the wallet to wallet. Yeah, bro, that's gonna be big. Revolut is starting to do that, and I think Tangem gonna follow them in the stepways like what they did. But Revolut's a little bit more banking system its own, right? Tangem, it's a technically a wallet company. But yeah, Tangem is going to be, in my eyes, right now, how they build out and how they do the whole security system, it's going to be quite big. I like them. I'm already in that ecosystem of them. So yeah, can't wait for more. So that's my safeguarding for that Revolut, and I have like two more different kind of cold storage wallets as well. But yeah, that's something that I've been thinking. Like that couldn't be that crazy at all, right? If like whatsoever, like we can still use Dexys and different kind of platforms for it. Like we don't need exchanges that much if they start to regulate them. And believe me, all of the stuff that fucking um, politicians, but as well like the countryside and more like the AU itself, what they do, I'm sorry, but they are a little bit behind on the topic, right? We still gonna be a little bit more ahead of them just because like they never mentioned any dexes yet. I don't think they, if you ask like one fucking politician what's the dex is, they have no fucking clue. So they're aiming for exchanges because yes, that's the fucking most common and most used and most known protocol in crypto. So yeah, that's their aim. But we are way ahead them. most of us don't use even fucking Binance. So like I'm talking right now in the group itself, right? MDX, I think, and the people that I know. But like in Holland, like Binance, like people forget about them, that they even exist. Like yes, we use Binance charts because they are biggest and they still will be for that matter. But overall, like as an exchange, like no one missed that. Yeah, exactly. Kinga. Yeah, exactly that, right? So still, right? Like yes, people will be scared. People will be panicking because something happening, because government that, government that, and but otherwise, like look around you, what you are doing. Like how does that gonna affect you? If that's gonna affect you, you will fucking find different ways before even they're gonna do the whole regulation. Like believe me, they're gonna scream about this and they're gonna promote that shit. What they're gonna do for ages before it's gonna be implementing significant. So yeah, like it's gonna be pain in the ass, of course, to move stuff and to look out for something else and to trust something. But believe me, there are ways. It's not something that oh you're gonna be left behind now and you're not gonna be able to trade. No, there are ways. So yeah, it's they are in my point of view behind with the thinking what they do and the implementation. So no matter what they're gonna do, we will be front running them at least by a matter of fucking time and stuff that we do, and we are much more quicker to adapt than they do, and they are. So, but that's my little bit rant and thinking about that kind of stuff because I used to talk with my friends and close people that I'm trading with as well and doing big stuff. And we had a really good conversation lately, and yeah, this is what kind of came out from it. I have been thinking as well by myself, like, what if? So yeah, sorry that I've been holding you guys for that long, ranting through some stuff. But I was wondering what you guys thinking about. But it would be if I'm the crazy one here. But apparently, I'm still fine. So it was a fact checking for me if I'm crazy. Data center for AI in Brussels and yeah, exactly that. Yeah, bro. And we are like what, like 10, 20 years almost further. Oh, bro, like come on, writing papers about the future. Yeah, yeah, that stuff is crazy, man. They cannot fucking yeah. Like most of the people that fucking are in that Brussels, they don't know what they are. If they are man or the woman. So please, they think about those kind of stuff. Way, way behind. Yeah. So yeah. Thanks a lot. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. So I did my fact checking. So that's good. I'm not crazy yet. I don't need to wear the foil hat. It's all good then. And to be honest with you, I really, really like much more using Dexes lately. It's so easier without fucking hesitations and those freaking saved gates constantly with everything. And I know, I'm starting to get a little bit more into the soft details because, like, yeah, you want to be secure with everything, but then, to be honest with you, like, nothing is secure, right? Not 100% at least. But yeah, you don't do crazy and stupid stuff, then nothing will happen to you, right? Team on the Dex approach, Adrian. I mean, I've been just thinking about it, and just like lately with friends, right, talking about this stuff and all the stuff what's happening around us, like not crazy at all. And yeah, I'm gonna mention that quite more often because, like, for me, like the taxes are start to get really, really appealing. Not all of them, of course, right? But like, yeah, there are some really good ones, like Hive, for example. That one is like massively what they do. and they still not even fully operating what they want to do. Like, that's crazy to me. So yeah, that's gonna be quite a big deal, definitely in the future, or like not even future, but like even next cycle. And who knows? Like in the bear market, the best things are coming in the bear market. So yeah, who knows? We will see even bigger companies coming up with stuff. Like for example, like maybe, who knows, even Aster can be a big one if they're not gonna be shady and fucking manipulated their own charts and shenanigans. But who knows? This might be another BNB situation, right? And they kind of look alike. Like, not gonna lie, like, yeah. Oh, how is this doing? I forgot about that. SpaceX. Oh, still grinding. Lost, still holding. But yeah, anyway, I'm not gonna bore you anymore. Keep you more oh, this check. Okay. Cool. Hyperlink. Well, what's up with question, Adrian? Hyperliquid? Orca? What you aiming for? Great short on the space, 20%, nice. And still, like, I can cover that for a second as well. Like, for me, quite obvious, right? Yes, we did settle a higher high, but we closed lower. So structure wise, we are a little bit more in the broken one. Still, we're not gonna come back at least at 170. That's your support. Not much to say yet about this price, but yeah, coming back, holding that, aiming for a high. We could be in this range for a while. So I'm not even like that big and that aiming for buying it up because it's cheap or something. Like, you're still gonna be able to buy it no matter what. Let's see. But I like the future plans for it and kind of the aim what they want to do. So I'm kind of behind that, yeah. That's for sure. Let's see how it's gonna playing out. Big stuff. So that's gonna take quite a lot of time. Definitely gonna be a next cycle. It's gonna take ages, like definitely a decade for it to play out. What they want to do. So still time. Tequila. I drunk it already. It's good. Good. Really, like, try it. Coffee with tonic. Super good. Especially in the hot summer. Oh, nice. I've been drinking like this the whole weekend as well. At the beach. Of course, in the night, like a little bit more spicy. Yeah, mate. Good stuff. Anyway, thank you very much, guys. Appreciate you all. Sorry for the rant. And I will see you Wednesday or tomorrow at the market open with Vikings. Have a good one. Enjoy your weekend. And hopefully as well the good weather. Same thing what we have over here right now. And take care. Have a good one. Bye bye. Love you all.